Sup, Ryu here for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome to a brand new top 10 countdown. The top 10 budget decks. Wait. Didn't we do this last month? Yes, we did. And obviously, we've had a big change when it comes to ABCs coming into the game, Treat Toad coming into the game. And you guys, last time, were like, what about this deck? What about that deck? And I feel it's time to go back to that budget list because I know there's a lot of budget players and I always want to make sure that they're heard. So budget tier always changes throughout new sets. And I think it's a perfect time to talk about that. So this will go from November to, let's say, late January. We're going to try to make that happen. Because last time I was like, we got to wait till Invasion Vengeance. But now that's not the case no more. So I'm actually going to mention 11 decks, and if I leave something out, it's probably because I'll mention it on Rogue or just, I don't know, probably some other list. But if not, it is what it is, and it's just my personal opinion at the end of the day. But a lot of this was inspired by you guys, so don't ever think that I don't listen to feedback or listen to you guys in the comment section. What you say is like freaking just, of course I'm paying attention to it because you guys make this channel what it is. You are the viewers. I am just the content creator. So anyway, let's make this happen. Kicking us off on the 11th spot, because it's got to have that honorable mention, is Superheavy Sam. Such a cool deck. Only focuses on monsters, which is absolutely fine because of what they do. They synchro, you can do Nat Beast. Not super good against ABC. I'm going to be completely frank. A lot of these are not super good against ABC outside of a few. But that's just how it is. ABC is the deck to beat right now, but hey, it's budget tier. You're going to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! You're going to have a good time regardless, as long as you don't mind not always winning 100% of the time. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. So, Superheavy Sam's, number 11. Number 10, Amorphage. You want to troll your opponent? This is the next best thing next to Exodia. Because 90% of the time, you'll lock out your opponent, and if they don't have a counteraction to it or anti-spell fragrance, you're going to lock them out. They won't be able to do much, and you'll just be able to spam little monsters in the face, and they won't be able to at all. They won't be able to counteract you at all. Want a skill drain? Yeah. Want a freaking Vanity's Emptiness? Yeah, you want everything in a fucking deck that can make your opponent rage salty as hell next to side frames. And that's why side frames are not on this list, because they'll be on the rogue list. I hate side frames, but I'll still put them on the rogue list. But Amorphage come close to side frames, but you don't need that side frame Lord Omega, which is why they make the budget lists at number 10. Number 9, a little more expensive, but still budget friendly depending on your price range. Lunalights. Not super expensive, but the reason I say it's kind of pricey, Allure of Darkness, and then, of course, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and the Lunalight stuff, some of it adds up. And for some people, that extra deck cost, of course, is going to run harder than for most people. But I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just trying to make a point across that not every thing on this is going to be under $50 or under $100. I think under 150, maybe even 200 is fair enough. If you're going to be playing this deck for quite a bit, I think that's fair enough, but depending on what you want to spend. Lunar Lights, though, super fun fusion deck, able to stop your opponent in their tracks because you could bring out a boss monster, Starving Venom Fusion, or something. You get an Invasion Vengeance. It allows you to cut a special summon monster's attack in half. And then, of course, when it dies, you'll be able to blow up the board from special summon monsters. It's just good because it only requires darks. And the deck is not super expensive either. Now, if you want something a little bit more, it's proven its worth and it's won worlds, well, Satellarknights are your best friend at number 8. I was about to say number 9 at number 8. Satellarknights have their own solemn judgment. In a way, they have that counter trap card that just stops your opponent. They could play card demise. They don't have to play card demise, but they can. There's multiple ways of playing Satellarknights, and they all are annoying because you have Deneb, which is your main searcher. You have Altair, which is your Wolf Bark, and bring something back. You have new support out of Invasion Vengeance. Now, yes, it's only one card, and yes, if you run Solemn Strike, that's a $40 card, $35 card right now. That's completely understandable. But we're also going on the fact that maybe you got it in the Megatins and that could be counted as budget, or you just can run Grand Horn of Heaven or Horn of Heaven or Black Horn of Heaven or whatever. There's plenty of other cards you could play instead of just that, but Satellarknights are an amazing deck that can block out your opponent from anything. This is one that, I'll be honest, I didn't give enough love. Buster Blader. It is an extremely fun deck, and it does have some pretty cool cards that can lock out your opponent from playing the game, from special summoning. There's a lot of that going on. And Buster Blader's expensive, but it can be a little bit more higher end on here, because you can use Sage with the Eyes of Blue, and it's fantastic in this deck, because yes, you give up your normal summon, but hey, you can search out any of the lights in your deck that are tuner, and there are plenty of them that are crucial to your Buster Blader strategy, and anytime getting that extra. So that's 3 cards out of your deck for 2. Cards of Consequence and the tuner. And of course the Sage, but the Sage gets you the tuner, that's kind of the point I was making there. Moving on, we have Kozmo. Yeah, this deck used to be really expensive earlier in the year, but now it's extremely cheap. Because the most expensive thing in this deck is around $10 if you don't count some strikes if you're running those. Again, if you're running those. You can get away with Chaos Trap Hole because there's a lot of light and dark decks in the meta right now, and that allows you to counteract it. Basically, Burning Abyss Phantom Knights and ABC, your primary 2 decks you're going to have to focus with. The deck, yes, was hit by the ban list, and yes, it's kind of getting power creeped out, but it's still an amazing deck. You just got to watch out for certain floodgates, and something that, honestly, I don't think a lot of people realize this deck is getting cheaper and cheaper by the week. And I know what people are going to say, but Ryu, Allure of Darkness, and then Dark Planet, and then, Kozmo, Dark Lady, not all that super cheap. Yes, it's not all super cheap, but again, just keep in mind, different price points for different folks. Moving down the list, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the number 5 spot, Gishki. Now, call me nuts. A ritual deck here. When anti-spell fragrance is a thing. Yes, because Gishki are incredibly fast. Don't really cost much outside of the $10 to really get a lot of this stuff. You can probably get it on something like Troll and Toad. I don't really recommend them. I'm not going to recommend any website, to be completely frank with you. But a lot of their stuff is extremely cheap. You can build a deck for $10 to $20, depending where you go, or what deals you get from friends, whatever it is. But it is an extremely cheap deck, and if you can get Gusoff Max, and of course the other rank 10 train, then the deck becomes that much better. It's real easy to play, because all you have to do is just play salvage, pull up the ones that got you the, searches, use one of those to drop the level 10, hope you get a monster, and if you get a monster, you bounce something back, and then you punch, that's 33, or 3,000, and you go Goose Off Max, and you burn the last 2. Real easy deck to play, lots of recycling, lots of fun combos with that deck. I'm probably going to feature on the channel, and pretty much it's not hard to learn, which is also another benefit. Then we have, at number 4, Deskbots. It's an OTK deck, in my personal opinion, because that's usually what I see with it when people drop it on me. It's OTK status. And it is something you can build for dirt cheap, next to nothing. I mean, seriously, this deck is cheap. A lot of the stuff is all commons, if I'm not mistaken. You don't really require an extra deck outside of maybe 1 or 2 things. Someone can clue me in, because my memory of Despots is just not too good. I'm going to be completely frank, but they are still a great deck because I played against them enough times to know that. The number 3 spot, again, one of the little more pricier ones, Fluffle. Ability OTK, ability to make crazy ass boards, and it's pretty much synchrons if they were fusions. That's the quickest way and easiest way to explain it to you. They also have a card that is called Fluffle Sheep, and when that thing comes out, oh my goodness, it's like Utopia the Lightning on a sweet Christmas. You ram it, it comes back, and they can't do shit about it. It's glorious. It's absolutely glorious. They have things that blow up your board, they have things that protect them, and they have, of course, all the fusion mechanics under the world. Now, if you're really concerned about it, you want to make sure you have Twin Twisters with this one because of the simple fact, or MSTs, or even the Cosmic Cyclone, just some kind of back row removal, because of the simple fact that Anti-Spell Fragrance and Vanity Emptiness hurt like a son of a bitch, to be completely frank. The last 2, And these were one of these were brought up quite a bit, is trains. Now I'm going to mention Shadow trains or Kaiju trains because it's just so good. Making that rank 10 that ABC can't banish it out. And the deck is freaking cheap. Not for everyone's price range, but hey, it's still freaking cheap when it comes to a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You basically just spam out rank 10s. It's pretty simple and straightforward. If you play the Shadow version, you can make the Shadow fusion, and that gives you a way to play the deck without Construct, free Construct Konami 2017, because that's probably when we're going to get the next ban list. Yes, I just said that. Trains are something that you should keep your eye out for, because they could also use the Mountain of the Battle Creator. That's the thing. If you want to go the Cyber, Malefic Cyber end route with that, I don't recommend that one, but hey, it is something you can do. It's a level 10 machine that you can special out for free, but banish to get out into poking. Anyways, number 1, the most crucial one, Kaijus. I cannot recommend this deck enough to people. Deities, Zodiacs, ABC. 3 popular decks we're going to see over the next 6-ish months. Again, 6-ish. And how do you deal with all 3 of those decks? Breaking their boards. Deities, you break their board. Zodiacs, you break their board. ABC, get rid of Dragon Buster. That's breaking the board. All you have to do is have 1 Kaiju in hand, and you can go off. You have the Kaiju Slumber. Combine that with a Raigeki. That's like 4 Raigekis. That's insane. You're going to see one, usually at least 1 every 10 cards. You have the Waterfront. So if you want to play the Waterfront. And if you combine it with Trains or Greydell or anything like that, that's another option. Now, for those who are going to immediately ask, where are Paleozoic? They are no longer budget because of Treat Toad, currently sitting around $55 at the time of making this video, which is Friday night. So, if that changes, and say Treat Toad was going to be $20, $60 for a playset, then I would absolutely include it, but most likely they'll end up on the rogue list next week. I know what you think, I just don't, care about mentioning them. Now, I've talked about Kaijus quite a few times, and again, I cannot stress it enough. They out pretty much 90% of the game right now, and if you're looking for something that has a competitive edge while also being able to be really affordable, Kaijus are your best friend. Yes, Sea Turtle is like $5, and yes, the Spider Sticky Kaiju is like $3 a piece, and those are the most expensive cards in the deck. But outside of that, you have plenty of ways of abusing it. There's a new fusion deck coming up, I think Eidolon or something like that. I haven't worked on my pronunciation for it just quite yet. But there's that can also work with Kaijus because they use different attributes. They're kind of like the new Shaddolls in some sort of way. It's the best way I can describe it right off the bat. And Kaiju's out Deities, ABC, Zodiacs. That's all you really need to know right now. And that is the greatest thing. But if I left anything out and you feel I left it out from this top 10, make sure to include it down in the comment section below. And I will share my thoughts with you and we can discuss it. So then when people come and watch this video, because it's now more relevant than last month's or the month before that, I think it was September. But to the point, that way they can keep up and go, oh, okay, this is cheap right now in this sense. Let's do that for everyone. Let's make the community great again. I said it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment. And I will see you tomorrow for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Goodness. Tomorrow's going to be Guide to Your Side for the Mermail Frog. And then I think next week should be the Zodiac one because I'm almost done with it. But I want to make sure I get every little thing you can side against that deck. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you then. Till then, peace.